Emily. I'm here at the Status Hackathon in Prague, and here we have two people from Tenzorum with us today, and we're going to be talking a bit about what they're up to the last couple months and what their plans are for Tenzorum, and maybe a little bit about Tenzorum itself, what Tenzorum is about, and why we should care.
Sounds good. All right, my name is Moritz. This is Mark, and we work on Tenzorum, as Emily said. So Tenzorum is a layer 2 solution, a layer 2 protocol that allows users to be seamless onboarded into the Ethereum blockchain. We do something called meta transactions. So basically we create this network of relayers that pay for the gas of users, so they don't have to understand gas, they don't have to understand Ethereum, they don't have to understand even blockchain to be onboarded into the centralized solution. Right now we have roughly 35 million people using blockchain. So it's insanely amount of little people using. So we have to create ways for people to be onboarded. We have to create user experience that people can be familiar with, understand, and really compete with centralized products and not just be this clunking kind of word where you just joining because of decentralization.
Okay, great.
Right. Mark, do you want to explain how this works fundamentally?
Okay, cool. So going deeper in to the technical details of it, I guess you can say.
Oh, actually, before we go on to that, can we just ask? Can I just ask about the Tenzorum project? Is it basically it's a protocol for it's basically a design protocol for normal users to actually easily interact with their wallets and apps.
Yeah, exactly. So we abstract all the layers of the technology. That's our idea, that the first time the user is being onboarded into the blockchain, he doesn't know what ETH, he doesn't know what it's gas, and he doesn't care. All right. So what we're creating is the protocol where games, financial services, and any kind of decentralized application will be able to plug into it to give this experience to users. The whole idea is that any kind of app will be able to provide meta transactions to this user base, and in this way, they're not going to be restricted to this dual system where you always need gas to pay gas, and you always need somehow the tokens of the platform. We want to basically liberate the ecosystem in a way that if I build a game, let's say I build a lottery, all right, and I have my token in my lottery, to play this on-chain, I always need ETH and my token. So we want to basically take this restriction now, and now I just need my token. So if I airdrop a token to you, if I airdrop a token to Mark, Mark will be able to play with my game without having to go after ETH. So this really allows, decreases the friction of adoption, basically.
Right. So for example, if I wanted to interact with an app, and I can actually, I don't even need to know my private key to actually have to send ETH to this dApp to use this dApp.
Yes.
Basically, that's what it's saying, right?
Yeah. So to put it frank, basically what it is we're building a blockchain account for a new user to come onto the blockchain, have a more friendlier experience, a more approachable experience that's similar to the Web 2, just a little different. And we're allowing users with that account to do gasless transactions, which means if you get a token with an app that you're using, or a CryptoKitty or some sort of digital asset, you can transfer it via an internet request. So it's not going to be, it'll seem very Web 2-like with a Web 3 twist on it, because we're facilitating the transfer of tokens without any ETH. So you don't have to have ETH to start off with, you just have to have a native token for the dApp itself that you're interacting with, because that's most onboarding into the crypto space will be through decentralized applications. They won't be someone saying, well, this is what we think, is someone saying, oh, okay, what's this Ethereum thing, let me get some, and then let me interact with a dApp out there, which is how it currently is. It's okay, I've got crypto, where do I use it? We think that the next wave is going to be, oh, here's this cool little dApp, maybe PPF or something. How do I start interacting with it? And then there's this little onboarding process where they go, okay, get your ENS name that resolves to our Tenzorum blockchain account, and then you can start interacting right away, just like a Web 2 solution.
So, but what if you didn't have any tokens itself? Can I still use Tenzorum?
So there's a few use cases to it, and there's the use case where we were describing. Let's say I can pay for this transaction in any ERC20. All right, so like instead of going after ETH, I just pay with any token. But there's also the use case where the relayers fully pay for the gas without charging any fee. And the use case that we imagine that is happening is like it's as an onboarding campaign, me doing some kind of a customer acquisition strategy, and I'm basically onboarding everyone. I'm the node of my own application, so anyone who plays with my application doesn't have to pay any ETH, and I'm somehow subscribing as a customer acquisition cost. So this is also part of the protocol.
Okay, great. So people, the users themselves who want to interact with the dApp don't have to have a token already to actually use it.
No.
And
They don't have to.
basically Tenzorum is the account that
Yes.
they can use to interact with a lot of different apps just using that
Exactly.
Tenzorum account.
Yeah, once a device has a private key on it, then you can interact with Tenzorum's account. But there's no real necessity for you to have a Tenzorum account without interacting with a blockchain decentralized application, because generally there's going to be a lot of transfer of tokens or some sort of asset within those applications. That's that's kind of what blockchain is bringing towards the web. So that's the whole idea. Get an account and then start interacting with blockchain solutions, because generally there's currencies that are native towards every application, and otherwise you just have a regular account, like a regular Web2 account.
Yeah. So basically with Tenzorum, you can go onto your account and you can actually, is there a way to choose different sort of apps, dApps that you can actually interact with?
All right, so right now what we're working on is in the fundamental implementations, right? We have one relay up, and basically we have our SDK, and any dApp who's experimenting with meta transactions can ping our relay, and we will pay the gas fees, right? Because we're right now on Rinkeby. And like what we want is like to have several applications, and we already integrated with a few ones that will really leverage and test the meta transactions, because this is really bleeding edge in terms of development, meaning like we really, as our co-founder says, like we are on uncharted waters. Like we're basically creating the frameworks, we're creating the standards, and this is what this community kind of became. Like it's us trying to create a way for people to be onboarded like in a decentralized way, without having any kind of friction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds very, very useful. Definitely
Yeah.
something I would be using.
And to build on that, right? So this one Tenzorum account, because it resolves to a public address like multiple crypto accounts, Ethereum accounts do today, you've got one account for multiple applications, and that's what's the beauty of it. And also the fact that you're owning your data, you're owning whatever's behind that private key or whatever's on that personal multi-sig wallet that we offer. Everything is all accessed by you, signed by you. Any transaction is all dealt with by you. The keys are on your devices, not within some sort of custodial service within an application. And you use that one account to access all of the applications. So imagine like one username for the entire web that you can just sign in with every single account. So that's the kind of idea and convenience that we provide as well.
Yeah, that's excellent, guys. What's the plans for the next 6 months?
So basically what we want is to onboard several projects to start experimenting with our relays, because the whole point of everything that we build is like not to build in silo. Like there's several like projects that just keep building islands, and like there's no actually user testing. So we're trying to have a really pragmatic approach in the sense, look, we build something, people have to use it, we see how it breaks, and it always breaks, and then we fix it, we make more robust until we have something that like it's alright to be on mainnet and like be deployed to everyone.
Okay, awesome. So basically it's going to be getting the dApps to actually
Yes.
plug into
Yes.
Tenzorum.
To make more robust. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And Tenzorum has always had this kind of front to back approach, whereas, okay, we design our solution with the user in mind. So we've gone through the phase of like user experience, within the limitations of smart contracts and Ethereum addresses and what's currently out there in the layer 2 solutions. We've designed from user experience backwards. So we've hit the point now where we're at SDK and relayers, which is like service nodes that are facilitating gasless transactions. And then we're going to go into the next step of research into making a decentralized network that is persistent, so that gasless transactions will always be occurring under, like Tenzorum's label, or if someone wants to fork our code under their label as well.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for the interview, guys.